A bond beyond fear, the villagers whispered behind her back. She is cursed, they said. She talks to a beast, they warned. But Eleanor didn't care. She had raised him, fed him, and loved him as her own. Now, the lion stood before her, tall, majestic, golden mane shining in the setting sun. His muscles tensed, his claws dug into the earth. Today, they had come to kill him. The villagers stood with spears, torches, and fear in their eyes. Leo growled, a deep earth-shaking sound that sent shivers down their spines. But his golden eyes softened when he looked at Eleanor. Would this be the end of their bond, or the beginning of something greater? The lost cub. Eleanor lived alone on the outskirts of Nabani village, near the endless savannah. She was different from the other villagers, quiet, distant, mysterious. Eleanor always felt love to lions, but never knew why. One night, an old traveler tells her a shocking truth. Your ancestors were lion guardians. You are the last of them. Eleanor realizes her bond with Leo was never an accident. It was fate. This revelation changes everything. Is she meant to stay in the wild forever? One stormy night, lightning cracked through the sky, and she heard a cry, soft, broken, drowning under the roaring winds. She stepped outside, drawn by something unseen. The rain lashed at her face as she followed the sound deep into the forest. Then she saw it. A tiny, trembling lion cub lay under a fallen tree. His fur was soaked, his ribs poked through his skin. His mother was nowhere in sight, perhaps killed by hunters, perhaps taken by the storm. Eleanor knew the rules of nature. A wild animal belongs in the wild. But when the cub's weak golden eyes met hers, something deep inside her stirred. She wrapped him in her shawl and whispered, I will not let you die. That night, she unknowingly sealed her fate, a mother's love. At first, the cub was too weak to move. Eleanor fed him warm goat's milk, wrapped him in soft blankets, and let him sleep beside her small fire. She named him Leo, meaning strong like the sea. Days turned into weeks. His frail body became strong. His once timid eyes burned with life. He followed Eleanor everywhere, nipping at her heels, sleeping curled beside her. But the village was watching. That beast will kill her one day. A wild animal can never be tamed. Elder Mosey, the village chief, warned her. This is madness, Eleanor. That thing will grow into a monster. Eleanor only smiled. He is not a monster. He is my son. But even she knew. The day would come when the village would not accept him. The growing beast, Leo, grew faster than she had expected. His paws were the size of Eleanor's hands, his body strong and powerful. He no longer fit inside her small hut, but he was still her Leo. He rubbed his great head against her, purred when she stroked his mane, and laid beside her under the baobab tree. But to the villagers, he was a threat. Mothers pulled their children away. Men clutched their spears whenever they saw his golden eyes in the dark. One night, Elder Lady came again. He belongs in the wild, Eleanor. Let him go before it's too late. Eleanor shook her head. He will not hurt anyone. But in her heart, she feared, what if one day they force me to choose? The first blood won. Fateful afternoon, Leo disappeared into the forest. Eleanor wasn't worried. He always came back. But at sunset, she heard screaming. She ran toward the village and saw a man bleeding on the ground, a wild pig dead beside him. The man's eyes were wide with terror. It was the lion, he gasped. He saved me from the pig. But he looked at me with those killer's eyes. Panic spread through the village. It's only a matter of time before he turns on us. Fear turned into hatred. That night, the elders made a decision. The lion must die. The hunters arrive. The village's fear attracted the attention of a group of hunters, men who had come to claim Leo's head as a trophy. They carried rifles, knives, and traps. Their leader, Kano, was a ruthless man with scars across his face. You should be thanking us, Elisa told Elder Lady. A lion raised by a human? That's unnatural. We will put an end to this madness. Eleanor begged the villagers not to let the hunters kill Leo. But no one listened. The hunt began. The Great Escape. Eleanor tried to hide him in deep forest. At night, while escaping the hunters, Eleanor and Leo reach a raging river. The only way forward is to cross it. Eleanor struggles, almost drowns, but Leo saves her by pulling her to shore. This moment strengthens their bond, but Leo realizes Eleanor is fragile. She is not meant for his world. She went in deep forest with Leo and leave him in the middle dark part of the forest. Leo is no longer the only lion in the area. A massive, scarred lion challenges him for dominance. Leo, though strong, is still inexperienced. He struggles against the older lion. Eleanor watches helplessly as Leo fights for his life. Leo wins, but suffers deep wounds. This is his first taste of the brutal wild. This Eleanor returned to her home. Eleanor's closest friend, a villager she thought supported her, secretly informs the hunters. This person tricks Eleanor into leading Leo into an ambush by pretending to help. At the last moment, Leo senses the trap and attacks the betrayer. Eleanor is heartbroken. She trusted the wrong person. Eleanor ran into the forest, desperate to find Leo before they did. She followed his tracks, whispering his name, her heart pounding. Then she found him, cornered near the cliffs by Kano and his hunters. Leo's fur was matted with blood, his breathing heavy, trapped. Kano lifted his rifle. Eleanor threw herself in front of Leo. "If you kill him, you kill me," she screamed. The hunters hesitated. But then, Leo roared. The mightiest roar the forest had ever heard. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. A second roar echoed through the trees, and then another. More lions emerged from the shadows. They had been watching Leo all along. Leo was not alone. The hunters, realizing they were outnumbered, turned and fled. Eleanor collapsed, exhausted, against Leo's side. He had won his place in the wild. But was he truly free? The final test. Eleanor knew Leo could never return to the village. But could she live without him? One evening, she went to their old spot by the baobab tree. She called his name, hoping, just once, he would come. The forest was silent. Her heart sank. Had she lost him forever? Then, from the shadows, golden eyes appeared, stronger, wilder, free. Leo stepped forward, pressing his great head into her palm. She sobbed, pressing her forehead against his. "You found me," she whispered. He let out a deep, rumbling purr, the sound of love, of a bond that even time could not break. He was king of the wild, but he was still her son. From that day on, every evening, at the edge of the forest, he waited for her, for his mother, watching, protecting, forever. Years pass. Eleanor is older, weaker, and she knows her time is near. She walks into the forest one last time, calling out to Leo. Nothing but silence. Just as she begins to lose hope, golden eyes appear in the shadows. Leo is no longer a cub. He is a full-grown king. He steps forward, pressing his head against her. She smiles through her tears, knowing they will always be connected. As the sun sets, Eleanor sits beneath the baobab tree and closes her eyes. Leo lets out one final roar, a tribute to the woman who raised him. Moral: true love knows no boundaries, not of species, not of fear. It is a bond that can never be broken. What would you do if you had to choose between love and survival? Could you raise a predator as your own and let it go when the time came? Eleanor and Leo's story proves that true love knows no boundaries. Not of fear, not of species, not of the wild. Now it's your turn. What did you feel while reading this story? Would you have protected Leo or let him return to the wild? Share your thoughts in the comments. Tag a friend who would love this powerful bond between a woman and a lion. Follow for more epic, heart-touching stories that stay with you forever. Because sometimes the wildest hearts love the deepest. Roar.